Hello everyone, it's a winter's day in Cape Town, and so I wanted to replicate this mood by having a grey background. So I've used an untinted house paint today, and I've used a black house paint tint that I picked up from the hardware and got the deepest, darkest shade of stone grey, which I'm now laying down on my canvas as my pillow base. So I'm using about 550 grams in total on this 40 by 50 centimeter canvas, and then I'm just going to tilt the canvas to level that paint and just make it even across the surface of the canvas now. It's very windy today, so I apologize if you're hearing the blistering sounds of the wind beyond my voiceover. I'm torching now. I'm going to fast track you through this. And now I'm going to do a little bit of colors, lay them down for the background to my bloom flowers. And I'm starting with a titanium white. These are bloom paints, specifically mixed up with a bloom pouring medium for this type of technique. I'm going to now do a color, it's called tan, just to complement the golds. Sorry for the lighting, you can't really see the color. It's a light shade of beige, and then the pearl white on top of that. And then I'm using my own black cell activator. There's no Floetrol in my cell activator. Floetrol is too expensive, and so I have worked tirelessly to find a replacement for the Floetrol, and it's soon going to be in retail, available for you to purchase either online or through retail stores here in South Africa. Spreading out that paint now that I'm going to use as a background effect with the blow dryer. My blow dryer is an 1800 watt. Just want to show you how beautiful that looks. Now it needs to be spun out so that the base or the pillow is able to cover the sides of the canvas before I lay down the colors for the bloom puddles. And then we're going to blow out the puddles into flower shapes. I have a long playlist of all my bloom flower blowouts. I've been doing this since ever and a day, probably since 2021, round about November. You can go back and check out all my bloom flower blowouts, and I hope to inspire you, and you can also do this. So laying down the puddles now for the bloom flower, starting once again with the titanium white. And then I'm going to deep dive into all of that golds. So I've got an antique gold, I've got a deep gold, I've got a bright gold. Really wanting to layer the golds because I want that to show through. That stone grey is very strong. But I wanted to see what the golds were going to look like on top of that stone grey. I do add a pearl white before I lay down the cell activator. And now I'm ready to move the cell activator first over the colors, and then I spread out that puddle to create some beautiful petals, and I use the blow dryer on a high fan. This is always the best part for me, just shaping that puddle into a flower with those beautiful deep center. All the interest lies in that middle part of that bloom flower. I'm going to separate the petals first, just to give that flower a little bit of shape. So I'm using a skewer stick to do that. Just pulling in some lines from the outside, working my way towards the center. separating that petals. I'm going to do another bloom, and I'm starting with the colors in the same order with the titanium white first, just to act as a buffer between that grey and the golds. It's the antique gold, the deep gold, and the bright gold, and they're from different brands. I use accessible paints here in South Africa. So there's a Zalcraft, there's a Dollar in that mix as well. And the pearl paint, pearl white, sorry, and then the black cell activator on top of that, spreading the cell activator with the blow dryer, and then blowing out those petals once again. I'm going to separate the petals again just to give it a little bit of definition. And then I'm going to spin this canvas, just a gentle spin to help that blooms to spread out. But also when you blow out your petals, you are moving some of that pillow paint, and the spinning then helps that pillow to also get off your canvas. I think this canvas needs a tiny bloom still to finish it off. There's a little space to the right side of the canvas that looks a bit of a dead space to me, and so I'm going to fill that up with a tiny bloom, and I'm bringing you in for a closer look. So for this one, I'm going to just go for it and just use the golds with the pearl white and the black cell activator. I'm not using the titanium white here, just the golds. Just a very tiny one, so you want to limit the amount of paint that you're laying down on your canvas now. That's the bright gold going down, and then a little bit of the pearl white again, and then the black cell activator. If I were to put the black cell activator directly onto that gold, then I'm going to get tints of green, and I don't want that. So blowing this out with my breath now, just giving it a huff and a puff, and not using the blow dryer because that puddle was too small for using a blow dryer. So your breath works fine. You can also use a straw or a handheld little blower if you have one. Spinning it again just to grow that flower, just to make it spread out a bit, and I'm happy with that. Now it's time to edge my flowers, and I've scooped up a little bit of the gold paint. I'm using the bright gold onto a spoon, and then from there I'm dipping in my skewer stick, and I'm just releasing that gold paint, letting it roll off the tip of the skewer, and as it's rolling off I am pulling it along the edges of the bloom petals, also to help it stand out and to give it a lot more color and definition as this canvas dries. So fast tracking you through this process again. If this is the first time for you watching, please subscribe to my channel. I'd really love you to join my channel. Help my channel grow. It doesn't cost you anything. It is free, and you will be supporting me. Thank you so much. That's the bloom. This is one perspective, one side. Let me know which orientation you prefer, portrait, landscape. You can literally hang this painting up in any orientation, and it will look good on any wall. So I hope that I've inspired you and that you will also do this at home. Please leave a comment below if you've enjoyed my offering, and I look forward to talking to you again in my next video. Take care, everyone. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.